Chris Branson, born in South Australia. My background is as a teacher, secondary school teacher. Eventually that led to me doing a PhD, where I looked at how personal values influence the decision making of principals, and the outcomes from that gained international recognition, to my surprise, and eventually led to my moving from being a principal for secondary college into teaching in tertiary institutions. And from there, being offered a position as Professor of Educational Leadership here at the University of Waikato. Well, my special interest is in how principals lead, educational leadership. On this occasion, I'm going to talk about leadership generally. 10 years or so ago, I would have suggested that perhaps school leadership was different to other forms of leadership. But I think in more recent years, industrial leadership, political leadership, leadership in general has coalesced around similar principles, similar understandings, and therefore on this occasion I'll be talking about leadership in general, but it would apply to different contexts, from the more formal public forms of leadership to the more communal, private, sporting types of leadership as well. I think anyone who has an interest in or concern about leadership, I think there is a growing discontent about leadership. While on the one side it's true that leadership is probably one of the most studied disciplines since the beginning of last century. A lot of research, a lot of attention has been drawn towards understanding leadership, because I think leaders are so important in our lives, in all different sorts of forms and contexts and places and so on. So we're interested in it. But I think there's a growing disillusionment. You know, we look at our politicians and think, are they really leading us, or are they just sort of managing the country and we're just sort of secondary? We look at industrial leaders and we're concerned about some of the decisions they make with respect to safety for workers and employment and so on. We look at sporting leaders regularly, some are heroes and some aren't. Even within our communities, you know, we look for leaders, they're not always available. So I think there is a common interest in the concept of leadership, but I also think just at present there is uncertainty about what is good leadership, and that's what I want to talk about. Well, I think I'm going to suggest to them that maybe we've concentrated too much on what is leadership, and rather we should also be equally looking at who are we leading. So it's not just how we lead, but how are we a part of the group that we're leading. I think there's now some awareness that we've concentrated too much on a part of leadership and forgotten an equally important part. And I'm going to try and draw out what that is, what that hidden or that forgotten part of leadership is, and therefore where leadership might need to go in the very near future if we want good leaders. Well, I'm going to be talking about leadership as I've outlined. I'm going to make it very general. It's not going to be an academic thesis. I'm not going to be referencing academics. Certainly they're going to be informing what I'm saying, but I want to present something that might be of interest to academics and to non-academics, to people who are in leadership and people who observe leadership. So I hope it's something that, if you have an interest in leadership, you'll enjoy the occasion on the evening of the 17th of September, starting at 6 p.m. in the Gallagher Performing Arts Centre.